Joining us now, we have a wonderful guest, the one and only Senator Nina Turner. She is host of the Hello Somebody podcast on the Black Effect Network. She's also host of The Conversation over on TYT, and of course, former national co-chair of the Bernie Sanders campaign. Great to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, Nina.
Yeah, great to be with you both, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. It's great to see you. Let me start with like sort of a big picture question, and you can take this in any direction that you want. But what do you think is the biggest failing, or are the biggest failings of the Biden administration to date?
Not giving people something they can feel. I mean, you know, the Build Back Better plan, even though as a progressive, I want to see it go a lot further. But it's certainly a strong foundation that should be a push very hard. Also, not allowing two senators and the people who are hiding behind them, because let's face it, it's not just Manchin and Sinema that is standing in the way of the filibuster. They just have the courage to come out and say we won't support changing the rules so that the filibuster and the way that it has been used historically, as we know, has been used as a tool to stop civil rights. And so they have no problem in the 21st century saying that the Senate filibuster rule means more to them than upholding democracy, and they're not alone. And so I want to see the president take the righteous indignation of this nation over voting rights and other things that the Senate needs to get done to give people something they can feel on the road and compel the American people to be on his side and say, hey, I'm standing up, but these two and any others who hiding in the shadows are standing in the way of my agenda, and this agenda can change your lives materially.
Nina, you were recently on CNN. It caused a little bit of a stir. Let's take a listen to that, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
They better not utter not one quote from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., not one, or any of his colleagues and contemporaries as we come up on his birthday on Saturday and the national celebration on Monday. These people are cowards. They are soulless cowards to hold up a daggone rule. Filibuster is a rule. It's not written in the Constitution. It's not a right. It is a rule, and they're standing in the way of it. So this is nonsense. They worried about what the Republicans going to do. Let's take care of 2022. Let's do what Democrats can do right now. They have the power. And my message to President Biden, now he done wasted a whole bunch of time with these folks, being diplomatic, inviting them out to the White House and to time out for it. He needs to hold a press conference, let them know. Either you're going to be by my side saying you're going to be with me and getting rid of the filibuster, or I'm gassing up the jet on your behind, and I will be in Arizona and West Virginia directly and let the American people know who's standing in the way of my entire agenda, not just voting rights. So President Biden, gas up the jet and cancel student debt.
So it's interesting, Nina. I agree with your sentiment, but at this point, isn't Biden so unpopular that Manchin and Sinema have nothing but to gain except for being to see against him? Like at this point, would that strategy even work for a president with approval rating in the low 30s?
Saagar, popularity rises and falls. Mm-hmm. So it went down. It can also go back up by action, by being very passionate, direct, and deliberate, and really pushing the agenda that he ran on. I mean, let's just start right there. And we know the overwhelming majority of the American people, no matter how they lean politically, agree with canceling student debt, driving down the cost of prescription drugs, haven't paid family leave, et cetera, et cetera. We could go on and on. So it really is just holding strong to the agenda that he ran on. And his low approval rating, I believe, will go back up. It will go up, rather.
Senator Turner, there's been some conversation now about, okay, so Biden clearly has been a disappointment. In fact, we covered a poll today. Majority of people describe themselves as either being frustrated with his presidency or disappointed in his presidency. His approval ratings have fallen off a cliff. He hasn't been able to deliver on really much of any of his core campaign promises. People certainly don't feel like the country is, quote unquote, back to normal. So now there's a conversation about, all right, so what does the progressive left do about that? Do they have a primary opponent for Joe Biden? Is there another track or tack that they could ultimately take? Some people are interested in, hey, is there a third party effort that we get behind for 2024? What is your view on those conversations?
And Crystal, before we get to progressives in 2024, word has it on the street, or at least in the Twitterverse, that Sinema is the one that's going to primary President Biden. So they need to be very much worried about the moderate and corporatist Democrats. This is, in talking with Marianne Williamson, and I know she's been on the show many times, and my conversations with her has been about the why. This is a suffocating moment in America's history and also the world's history, starting with the pandemic. So I urge the progressive movement to start with the why. Why do we fight so hard? Why are we the champions? And progressives have been the ones, continue to be the ones to hold up the president's agenda even stronger than he is holding up his agenda. The squad members are right when they said do not decouple, do not separate the infrastructure bill from Build Back Better. Guess what? They turned out to be right. And what is so important about Build Back Better, even though it is not as robust as I and many other people would like to see it, and it needs to be in this crisis moment, but that portion of the bill, not the infrastructure bill that's only going to primarily enrich the people who always get enriched, and that's the corporations. But Build Back Better is about the social fabric of everyday people in this nation, the child tax credit, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the things that need to change. So, Crystal, I believe that the progressives need to continue to fight like hell as they are in the Congress, and the outside activist groups need to continue to push our agenda, whether people agree with it or not. When you distill it down to its basics, it really is about lifting humanity, lifting the poor, the working poor, and the barely middle class in these United States of America. And if you are against that, you are the extremists. If you are against canceling student debt to lift the burden off of 45 million people, you're the extremist. If you are against legalizing marijuana and and making sure that people's records are expunged, and also that from the economic standpoint, that the Black community that has suffered the burden of the war on drugs receive and are able to participate on the economic side, you're the extremist. If you believe that not having voting rights, expanding and protecting the right for everybody, no matter who they want to vote for, is not fundamental in the United States of America, you're the extremist. If you don't want to see minimum wage increase, everything else is going up, why not minimum wage? You're the damn extremist. So listen, progressives need to keep being hard charging. And as I said on CNN, let's gas up the jet, let's gas up the cars, even though gas prices are so damn high. So many people can't necessarily afford it, but the White House can afford to gas up the jet. Mr.
I have a feeling they could do it.
I think they
That's right.
They could if they wanted.
I mean, let me ask you this though, Nina, because you said the progressives in Congress need to continue to fight like hell. But I'm just going to be honest with you. I haven't seen them fighting like hell. I mean, there seems to have been a decision. I don't want to relitigate, force the vote for the millionth time. But there was a sort of pivot point at the beginning of the Congress of they could take a more adversarial approach towards Democratic leadership and make clear to the American people, here's the real divide within the party, or they could try to position themselves to influence the bills that were coming out as they were making their way through Congress and have their own strategy, which is what you refer to. Okay, let's try to keep these bills tied together. Ultimately, that strategy didn't work. When it came down to it, there was a lot of pressure on the Progressive Caucus to effectively fold and let the infrastructure bill go through without also tying it to Build Back Better. There were some squad members who continued to dissent, but ultimately the strategy did not work. And so their efforts to, push Biden left and be a voice inside the room haven't borne a lot of fruit. So what would be your advice to them as they head into this year of how they could be more effective with the positions of power that they have?
Remember what separates them from the extremist Democrats, from the mainline Democrats. That's what they have to do. So Marianne Williamson is right. The why crosses all intercepts. It is, why are you there? Why are you fighting? And what makes you different from mainline and corporatist Democrats? Don't lose sight of that. And don't allow mainstream media, anybody else, to talk you out of standing up for humanity. So you're right, Chris. I mean, people disappoint all the time. Hell, I disappoint. Everybody disappoints. Just because that's the reality today does not mean that has to be the reality tomorrow. So the progressive, just as President Biden can, I believe, overcome his approval rating by giving people something they can feel, I do believe that the Progressive Caucus can overcome this moment and use their power. Why should Senators Manchin and Sinema get to have all the fun? They are holding up the agenda on the bad end. How about progressives stand strong and hold it up on the stronger end? They are the largest caucus in the United States Congress right now, and they need to act like it. So kudos to the squad for standing up extra strong. And there should have been some other members of that Progressive Caucus to do the same. And this is not, I'm not indicting them here today. What I am saying is remember what makes you different and hold strong to that. And if you know you are fighting for what is just, for what is right, and for what is good, really to hell with what other people have to say. And yes, is there a consequence for fighting for justice? Yes, there is. But baby, it is a consequence and a risk worth taking because the American people need somebody or a group of somebodies to hold fast to standing up for what they need. We need it.
We certainly do. I'm not sure we're going to see it in the White House, though.
Great to see you, Nina. Thank you so much for taking some time. And tell people, where do you want them to follow you?
Well, thanks for having me. And I just want to thank you both for your courage. I mean, we need alternative media resources, and you all are certainly the best of the best. People can find me on Twitter at Nina Turner, the Gram, Nina Turner, Ohio, and Facebook, Nina Turner.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you, Nina. Appreciate it very
Nina.
much.
Great to see you.
Thank you both.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for bearing with our snow schedule. If you don't know, everything shuts down here within like 2 inches of snow, causes complete havoc. So we appreciate that. Of course, we appreciate your support. We have got 3 shows here. We will have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's going to be amazing. If you could support us, we appreciate it. Link is there in the description, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Love you. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.